Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to another day of May I Scraplift You. Today I am scrap lifting the Instagram handle Crop Cat. It belongs to, I believe her name is Morag Cuts, and I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. She's the owner of Bramble Fox, and I really liked this layout that she did with all of these layers, and so I'm going to go ahead and scrap lift that. I apologize for the shaking of the black thing in the corner there. That is my travel light, and I didn't realize it was in frame when I shot this film. So I am starting out with some inklings from Shimmerz. One is called Frosty's Buns, the other is called Blue Lagoon, and I have stamped a bunch of text onto this white paper, and I am going to use some white or some clear gesso right over the top of it so that I have a little room to play with those Shimmerz products. The gesso is from Art Basics, which is a Prima or Finnabair product. And I'll show you the label here in just a second. And then I am going to go ahead and wait for that to dry while I do the same thing with a little bit of gesso right over this wood grain that has snow on it, or snowflakes, and that is from the Mint Wishes collection of Kjpargeter, and it's an old collection. I don't know if it's even available any longer. And now I'm going to go ahead and play with adding the inklings right over the top of this text. I'm going to actually do the whole page because I need two sections of this, one with the text on it and one without. And so I'm going to play with that a little bit, and adding that gesso allows me to go ahead and spray that water right on there and move those colors around rather than them just soaking right up. It's a great way to prep your paper if you want a little bit of play time, and if you don't want to invest in something like the Vicky Bouton foundation paper or actual watercolor paper. So I am ripping these into two sections, and then I'm going to put some modeling paste or texture paste on the edge of them, two different edges, and this is going to be at the top edge of this piece. I'm just building in a little bit of texture, and then I'm going to go over it with some Stickles glitter gel in Moonbeam, which is super sparkly and super shimmery, and I've been using a lot of it. I'm almost out, as you can see here. My jar is just about empty, but I'm going to go over that white with the Stickles. The main reason I wanted the white unders, I didn't want as much of the text to show through, and I wanted it to have a little bit of lift and height to it because I wanted it to have its own texture, basically. Now I'm going to go over the other piece here more towards the bottom with the same two applications. The texture paste, which is Ranger Opaque Matte White, and then the Stickles glitter gel again. And I'm liking how that's looking. It gives me a lot of differentiation between the two layers because it's, I'm giving it some white and some sparkle in different areas, and so I'm liking how that's looking. Now I'm going to go ahead and rip the wood grain here. I'm going to adhere the left hand panel all the way down to the page without any issue. That's going to be exactly how it needs to be. And then I will be tucking in the two blue pieces that I put the Shimmerz on underneath the other piece of wood grain, so there will be some layers basically. Now in the inspiration piece, she has a bunch of stuff tucked into those layers, and I'm going to probably not stick as much in there, but I will be building up some embellishments, and we'll just have to see how that comes out. You can really catch a good glimpse of that shimmer as I was playing with that top piece there. And I am going to ink up the edges with some Black Soot Distress ink just to give it an extra pop from the layer behind it. I want it to really show that it's a good layering, or that there are layers. And now I'm going to go over some of these little snow dots here with some of that Frosty's Buns Shimmerz, and I like the way it's looking, but I decided to go ahead and just splatter more. I'm like, why am I actually just adding shimmer to the dots that are already there when I could just splatter my own dots. And so that's what I did. I waited for that to dry, and now I'm going to go ahead and adhere these pieces down, get them all set where they're supposed to be. And while I do that, I will remind you there are a bunch of people playing along with May I Scraplift You. The playlist is down below for you in case you want to go and check out anyone who has created videos so far this month for May I Scraplift You. Each day we are scraplifting someone different, and actually we could make our own lists. We weren't required to use the list that Crystal is working off of, and in some cases I'm using some of the same ones Crystal is using, and in other cases I'm using some of the same ones that MK used. So I kind of just switched back and forth between the two. Wherever I found inspiration, that's what I went with. I'm using my acrylic blocks there just to hold my layers down so that I make sure that they adhere well. And by doing that, I can continue to work on another piece while everything kind of sets up. Now, if you noticed at the top, there was a little bit of the white cardstock sticking out. I just took that over to my trimmer and trimmed it off. And that's because the white cardstock is just a hair over 12 inches. So I try to line up one edge, which in this case I lined up the bottom. And then the top, you just trim it off just a tiny bit. Now I'm going to work on my layers that are going behind my photos. Or my photo, I should say. I'll have one photo for this one. It is my husband with the two girls that I take care of up in Tahoe. We went sledding, and then after that we walked over to the Starbucks. The girls got hot cocoa, I got a coffee, and I don't even remember what my husband got. I don't think he got anything, actually. He might have. Anyway, he is waiting for me to get the coffees. The hot cocos came out first, and so he's just waiting with the girls while in front of Starbucks while I wait for the coffee to come out. And they're holding their cups of cocoa, warming up their hands because it had started to snow quite a bit while we were sledding, and we were all pretty cold. So I'm liking how that's looking. And then I have this little piece of a viewfinder. I'm going to tuck that under. I've also got this little tag set from a Heidi Swap collection. I'm not even sure what collection that is from. And so I'm going to change the top of the tags, the little reinforcer things. Those were kind of a yellowy gold color. And I am just changing it by adding a little bit of washi off of my washi ring. In case you're wondering about that, I just invested in, I think, 1,000 pieces of those embroidery floss holders. Bobbins, I think they call them. And I don't know if it was really 1,000, but it was a lot. I have tons of them. And so I used a jump ring, and I put a bunch of washi on each one of those different bobbins, and then I put them all on a jump ring, and it's on my caddy. And so wherever I go, I do have a good selection of washi. Now I don't have all of my washi on there. I just have a good selection of a variety of different colors and patterns. So I always have something that I can reach for in a pinch like this. And then I didn't have to pack all of my washi for my retreat. So I just used my my hole punch, my little single hole punch, it's just a standard size, to punch the holes out of the top. I added a little twine through the top, and now I'm going to go ahead and tuck those under the back. And I am leaving it so that it is a bit of a pocket, so the tags can come out and I can write something on it if I want to. Although there's not a whole lot to be written, so I might be able to fit it on that little blue tag that is going underneath the circular tag. And if you haven't been watching my videos so far, the snowflakes are from one of my friends had their Cricut there, and one of the other friends was cutting a bunch of snowflakes out, and so I just said, hey, I need some snowflakes too. Can I cut some? And so we threw a sheet of glitter paper in there for those dark silver ones. The others are just on white cardstock, just the coconut swirl basil paper. And then I sprayed them with some mixed media. I used some Sterling Media Gloss spray, which is silver, and then some Dilutions White Linen Shimmer spray. And now I'm going to add a couple of pieces from MK's shop. I don't know if she has these currently available, but she has all kinds of other stuff. Anyway, this one is a cup of cocoa, and I thought that was perfect. It does have a protective coating on it, like a paper, a masking, and so I was just peeling that off in case you were wondering what I was doing there. And then out of another set, she had some postage stamp looking pieces of wood veneer, and this one has a snowflake on it, which I thought went really well with the snowflake that was on the cup, so I'm going to use that as well. And I really like the way that that looks. I think it's super cute. I'm liking it so far. I haven't really tucked anything into my layers quite yet. I think I'm going to end up adding some snowflakes up to the top where that shimmery section is on that between the two blue layers, and I don't think I'm going to go much beyond that. Now my acrylic piece here is from Color Cast Designs. It says Hot Cocoa Time, and I'm just going to adhere that with my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I left the paper backer on it just because I'm using liquid glue, so I thought it's not going to hurt it, so I'm going to leave it there and maybe it'll hold really well. And it's white, so it's not showing up a really like vibrant or bold on this blue paper, but in real life you can see it just fine, and you'll see that in the close-ups. So here I've decided to go ahead and tuck this one snowflake in. Then my other snowflakes are going to go right on top of it, so they're not getting tucked all the way in. But I like the way that it looks, and I'm happy with it, so I'm going to go with that. In case you're wondering why there's a spoon in my hand, while we were at the retreat, my friend Joni, she made a homemade Dole Whip. If you don't know what that is, it is amazing. It is like vanilla ice cream with pineapple, like all mixed in, but not like just stirred. It's turned into basically pineapple ice cream, and it was really good. And so she had brought me a cup of that over, and that's why the spoon was in my hand. I did cut out the part where, the Dole Whip was sitting on the table and I might have been eating it. Anyway, I am adding a few sequins here to my embellishment areas, just using these turquoise ones. I really thought those would just jazz it up just a tiny bit more, and I really like the way that those look. And I know this was a lot of work for just one little tiny photo. In case you're wondering why I do that, sometimes it's about the design for me, sometimes it's about the story. In this case, I just wanted to commemorate the moment that we spent together doing this, because it's not something that my husband and I get to go out and do very often, and having these two little ones with us was just a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it. So I do want to take time to commemorate that, and then this will probably go in my album. I will make a separate one for their album. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. I thank you for spending time with me today, and I will be back again tomorrow with another May I Scraplift You video, so come back and check that out as well. Again, if you missed anything, the links are down below. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.